I want to talk about January and February. That's right, the dump months. These are the months that studio execs try to avoid putting their best movies out because in some places it's so cold or so snow covered, people would just rather stay in the house than go to the theaters. That's going to affect your box office. There's a lot of competition. We have the award shows, we have the NFL playoffs, and movies just don't want to compete with. So it's best to just dump all your bad movies into January and February and save your good stuff from moving forward. But even with that, we still always have some gems to watch in January and February. And that's actually what I want to talk about. Thanks for joining Brian Knows Movies, and I want to give you 7 reasons to go to the theaters during the dump months. Before I talk about these 7 films for January and February, I want to talk about some honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is actually not a theatrical release. It's coming to Netflix, and that is The Pale Blue Eyes, starring Christian Bale and Harry Melling. It's a period piece where Christian Bale is playing a detective that is investigating the murder of a cadet at West Point in 1830. Who's assisting him with this investigation? No one other than Edgar Allan Poe for some reason. It's a very weird premise. I'm very interested because, of course, Christian Bale can do no wrong to me. He's usually the best things in all of his films, and I'm just interested in the story, so check that out. Another honorable mention goes to Plane, that comes out on January 13th, starring Gerard Butler and Michael Coulter. This film looks really dumb. I don't think it's going to be good, so I don't want to recommend it just yet, but I am going to see it because I love action, and Gerard Butler is great in these cheesy action films. I'll let you know if it's any good. But let's get into the actual official list. January 6th, this Friday, we get Megan, which could be this generation's Child's Play, or Chucky for those who don't know the actual name of the franchise. I'm very excited about it. It looks really zany. It looks like they're leaning into the comedy of the horror a little bit more than what maybe I would like, but it still seems like it's something that is going to be right up the alley for a lot of horror audiences who are coming off that high from 2022. Before continuing, I will admit that January is pretty lean, and I think it's lean for an additional reason on top of what I've already told you, and that's Avatar: The Way of Water. At the time of this recording, it's already made $1.4 billion worldwide. It's going to continue to take a lot of the box office. It's going to hit that $2 billion it needs to make its money back, as it said in original financial reports. It's going to do that easily. So a lot of studios are trying to give that movie room to breathe because they don't want their movies to get knocked out. But come January 20th, we're actually going to get 3 releases that I'm excited about. The first movie is the wide release of Women Talking. This is a movie that was heralded as being a possible Oscar contender in a multitude of categories. I think that it coming out so late may hurt some of those nominations, but they pushed it back because they were scared of Avatar, is what I think. But you have Claire Foy, you have Jessie Buckley, you have Frances McDormand, who's won like a gazillion Oscars at this point. And it's about these women in this Mennonite community coming together to challenge the patriarchy and the sexual abuse that's happening in this Mennonite community. It looks really good. I can't wait to tell you all about it, and hopefully you see it with me. The other film coming out on January 20th is Missing, starring Storm Reed and Nia Long. It reminds me of another film that came out 4 or 5 years ago called Searching, starring John Cho, where you're trying to solve this mystery of somebody who's been abducted or just lost using the internet. And that's what Storm Reed's character is doing in this movie. She's trying to figure out what happened to her mother and her mother's fiance who disappeared on an international trip. And she's using the internet to do it. It's a really cool way to tell a mystery, and it looks just as good, if not better, than the Searching film with John Cho. The third film that has my interest that's coming out on January 20th is Alice Darling, starring Anna Kendrick. This film looks very paint by numbers in terms of a premise that we've seen before in the past. First film that comes to mind is Enough, starring Jennifer Lopez, where you have this abusive relationship where you have this guy who is physically and emotionally violent towards his significant other. In this case, it's Anna Kendrick's character who's being abused. She goes away on some sort of vacation with her friends, and it looks like her boyfriend comes and, I don't know, tries to murder people. It's what we've seen before, but it's always a great thrill ride, and it always seems to be pretty empowering to me. Anna Kendrick, she's a great actress, and there's some other great talent in this film. I can't wait to see Alice Darling. All right, let's get into February. Before I talk about my last 3 films, I do have one more honorable mention that's coming out in February. I know I'm cheating, but I have to put Magic Mike's The Last Dance on here. Why is it an honorable mention? Because I've never seen any of the other Magic Mike films. I know they are immensely popular, and this movie is going to make a lot of money because they always do. People love Channing Tatum. I'm sure the directing of Steven Soderbergh is amazing. I just never saw any of the other movies, so I don't know where to place this. I'm going to catch up on the Magic Mike series before Magic Mike The Last Dance comes out on February 10th. But let's backtrack to February 3rd because the 5th movie I want to talk about is M. Night Shyamalan's A Knock at the Cabin. I love M. Night Shyamalan films. I really do. Split, The Visit, Sixth Sense, old from a couple of years ago. I rewatched that and I liked it a lot more on the second watch. He has one of those filmographies that really sits with you. Even though his endings and his twists can be a little frustrating, there's always something interesting and bold going on there. Very interested in A Knock at the Cabin. The sixth film comes out on February 17th. It's the first film of Marvel's Phase 5. That's Ant-Man Quantumania. I love the Ant-Man films because I love Paul Rudd as Scott Lang. They're a lot lighter than the others. It's all about the heist as opposed to the boom boom fighting action of a lot of films, which I enjoy. Here's a hot take for you. I actually think that Paul Rudd is the best casting that Marvel has done outside of the original 6 Avengers. I wonder how audiences are going to take this movie and what direction this movie is going to go with. I think that Ant-Man should always stay light, but it seems like, especially after Thor Love and Thunder, Marvel fans are sick of the light feel of these films. But Ant-Man's supposed to be light. Thor shouldn't have been light. Ant-Man should be light. So I don't know what they're going to do there. Also, with the introduction of Kang the Conqueror, along with my prediction that either Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, or both are not coming back from this, how serious is this film going to have to be? I don't know, but I'm hoping that it works. I really do. The final reason you should go to the theaters during that month is Cocaine Bear. Now, I know that that's very immature of me, that this film looks immature, it looks cheesy, it looks campy, it looks very one note. The joke of a high bear that's chasing and killing these people just like it's chasing its next high. I get it. It's corny, it's immature, it's probably gonna be a bad film. But you gotta make space for films like this, because if you can clear your mind out and don't take life so seriously, you can have a lot of fun. I feel like I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this. Should it be a straight to Sci-Fi Channel movie? Probably so. Or straight to VOD movie? Probably so. But I think the premise is just too good not to see this in theaters. One of the best things about going to the theaters, the enjoyment comes from watching it with a bunch of people. Everybody's laughing at the same parts, and the energy of the theater is what really makes these films. I'm hoping that I have a lot of people in the theater when I go see it. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a guy who loves movies. Are you interested in any of these films during the dump month? Or are there films that I didn't talk about that you're actually interested in during the dump months? Please let me know in the comment section below. I'm playing around with the idea of having my first ever live stream be a 2023 preview of all the films that are coming out this year. If this is something that you might be interested in, hey, give me a thumbs up or let me know in the comment section below. If I get enough response to that, I will go ahead and set it up. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you at the theaters next week.